So everyone swears their diamond paste has the most diamond in it. So I've put 5 of them under the microscope to see what is actually inside. Which one has the most diamonds? Are they true to size? What is the difference between mono and poly compounds? So first we go inside the compounds, then I use them on a real edge to see if that difference actually changes how your knife cuts, and finally we compare the effect of different substrates. So we have 5 compounds today. We have Stroppy Stuff at 6 micron, it is water-based. Then we have Wicked Edge at 5 micron, it is oil-based. And DMT at 6 micron, also all oil-based. And then this Jende at 4 micron. This is water-based as well. And then at 6 micron, finally, this Hapstone diamond compound. So 2 of these, the Jende and the Hapstone, are sold as polycrystalline diamonds. All the other ones are single crystal. So remember that, because it will be interesting later. One thing first, none of these companies tell you how much diamond is actually in the compound. There is no weight percent, no milligrams per milliliter, nothing. So I cannot weigh it. All I can do is look at it. And with only looking, you are limited in what you can do. So let's look at the close-ups. So these pictures are all at the same magnification. This is DMT. So it's 6 micron, and as you can see, there are a lot of rounded particles. It is also packed in very, very tight, and it's fairly even across the frame. It looks heavily loaded, and that yellow stuff you see is the oil carrier. That oil actually has a lower refraction index, and that makes the diamonds easier to visualize. So let's look at the measurements. The mean is slightly lower than the advertised micron. The advertised micron is 6 microns, and this shows as a mean 5.8 microns. It has a variability of 12%, which is rather low. You can see the numbers on the screen. So it has strong clustering of 84% around that 6 micron, with the largest particle being 7.9 micron, and that's not horrible at all. The next one is the Stroppy Stuff. It's also 6 micron. That white stuff you can see, that is actually diamonds packed in together very, very tightly. That causes so much reflection and refraction that it is hard to see the separate diamonds. I try to get that out as much as possible, but diamonds are very hard to visualize. And then the greenish part is the actual color of the carrier fluid. The fluid itself, of course, evaporated. And then in the middle, the diamonds are most clearly visible. So let's look at the numbers. This compound has a high variability, and lower is of course better. So 54% only is within 1 micron of the stated size. The mean is 6.7, so it runs large, and the largest particle is 8.5. So then the Jende. So this one is a little bit darker, and the particles look smaller and more spread out. That partly makes sense. It is the finest grit of the 4. It's only 4 micron. So at the same magnification, it is naturally going to be less dominant. Also worth saying, this is not Jende's high concentration version. They sell a stronger one as well. Here we have the measurements then, and as you can see, they fall short of 4 micron. On average, it is 3.6 micron. So that runs slightly small. The numbers are on the screen. 80% is clustered within 1 micron of the advertised size. That's okay. Of course, 1 micron on 4 micron is different than 1 micron on 6 micron. So that number is not, those numbers cannot be compared one-on-one. So there are also no huge outliers. Okay, so the Wicked Edge, this frame is a bit cloudy and a bit out of focus. The particles are merging into each other. This is because there are so many diamonds stacked on top of each other that makes them very hard to visualize. Some are visible in an okay way, and those look somewhat smaller than the 6 micron DMT, which is what we would expect because it's 5 micron. So let's look at the numbers. It has a mean of 4.6 micron, and that is running a bit low. It's within reason though, and the variation is 13%, which is actually pretty good. 81% of the particles are within 1 micron of 5 micron. Then let's take a look at the Hapstone. So fine bright points gathered into lumpy clusters between the clumps. Again, lots of stacked diamonds. Already it looks a little different from the other. It looks more busy, and more broken up. Keep that in mind. It will make sense later. So let's look at the numbers. Also running slightly small at a mean of 5.7 micron. Variation is 14%, so not bad. And 76% within 1 micron of the stated size. And the range of the particles is actually not bad as well. It is between 4 microns and 7.8. So here you can see the summary on screen. The variations are actually very close to each other. Stroppy is a bit wider, but at this sample size, that does not necessarily mean much. To give an impression of the amount of diamonds, I will show overview pictures at low magnification. But before I show you, there is a lot of effort going into crafting these pictures, and especially in the ones at the end of the video. If you like seeing this content, subscribing is the way to do it. So, this is the Jende. As you can see, it looks a bit less saturated at this view. Here we go to Stroppy, and we get the same impression, also a little bit less saturated. Especially if you compare it to this one. This is the Hapstone. It looks well loaded and it has a bright, busy field. And it compares very well to this one. This is the DMT. As you can see, it's yellowish, but it's very, very nicely loaded. And this is the Wicked Edge. So also very high density, very well stacked and very, very well loaded. So none of these actually look very empty. But honestly, this is a very poor way to determine the amount of diamonds in a compound. It's just to give you an impression. To actually correctly compare, I should take the same sample amount of each compound and then simply count the diamonds. I could think of no easy way to do a decent and valid comparison. There is one more difference, however, that these micron numbers never tell you. Not all diamond is the same kind of diamond. So most Strop compound uses monocrystalline diamond. So picture each particle as one solid little crystal with sharp corners. It's tough, it keeps its shape, and it cuts fast with a few hard points. The Jende and the Hapstone are the odd ones out. They use polycrystalline diamond. Instead of one solid crystal, each particle is a clump of tiny crystals stuck together. So why does this matter? Well, a polyparticle is built to crumble. As you strop, the outer crystals break away and expose fresh, sharp edges underneath. So it keeps cutting with new points instead of wearing dull. And because of those points are smaller, it tends to leave a finer, more even finish with fewer random deep scratches. So mono cuts harder and survives longer as a particle. Poly is gentler and renews its own edges, which is why it gets used for a clean polish. It's not that one is better than the other, they're just different tools. Now, the fun question. Can I actually see poly versus mono under my microscope? Remember, we can go down to 0.8 micron. But the answer is no. I cannot see the thing that defines it. A polyparticle is made of crystals far too small for any light microscope to resolve, mine or anyone's. To photograph those, you need an electron microscope. But there is one thing we can watch. Not the crystals themselves, but the way each compound handles light, and this is where it gets interesting. So let's start with the DMT and the Hapstone. The DMT shows clean, separate points, each a tiny glint sitting quietly. It looks much more uniform. The Hapstone breaks light into far more directions and color. It looks busier and more fractured. That looks like a clean mono versus poly split, and it certainly might be. But there is a catch, however. The DMT is oil-based, and the Hapstone is water-based, and the liquid changes the sparkle. Diamond sits high on the refractive scale, about 2.4. Oil is about 1.45, and water about 1.33. The smaller the jump, the less sparkle thrown off. So oil calms slightly, not a lot though. Oil does not hide the diamond, but two things changed at once. So it's not a fair test. So let's compare the Stroppy and the Hapstone instead. Both are water-based, both 6 micron, and the only real difference is the diamond. So Stroppy is single crystal and Hapstone is poly, and the difference still holds. The Stroppy stays clean and quiet, and the Hapstone is busy and fractured. So the same water carrier on both, so this is not an oil versus water trick. The one sold as poly is still the one shredding the light the most. So a single crystal has a few flat faces, so it flashes from a few clean points. A polycrystalline particle is covered with tiny facets at every angle, so it throws light everywhere. And it's not just the Hapstone. So here you can see the Jende, the only other poly. So watch it split light into color exactly the same way. So both poly compounds break light up and both crystal ones stay clean. And that pattern is holding, is what makes me fairly confident it is the crystal type talking. How would I rank those compounds? Well, I cannot rank them. And that's the real point of the video. I cannot tell you definitively which one has the most diamond. The diamonds are see-through, they are reflective. And in a lot of these shots, they are stacked on top of each other. So once that happens, the image saturates, the particles merge, and counting becomes guesswork, nigh impossible. On top of that, the carrier differs. Some oil, some water. And how thickly the paste is piled and how well it disperses changes how busy or smooth it looks. So part of what you are seeing is the carrier and the dispersion, not the amount of diamond. To actually rank them, you would need to take the exact same amount of each, thin it down to a single layer of particles, then photograph a known area and count. Or the companies could just print the loading on the label, but neither of those happened here. Okay, let's stop staring at the diamond and let's use it. So can we see the difference between poly and mono? Poly is supposed to behave differently, gentler, finer, more even, and that I can actually photograph. So here is the test, and I kept it fair. Same knife. Both times I set the edge to a fresh 1000 grit pattern. I photographed it and then refined it with a compound. Then I washed the edge clean and photographed it again. One run with DMT 6 micron, which is a single crystal, and one run with Hapstone 6 micron, which is a poly. So first the Hapstone. This is a 1000 grit starting point. Okay, I did not wash this one, and you can see some metal shavings on the edge. There's also a rather large burr on the apex. So I did a few alternating passes, but I was not aiming to get a perfectly sharp edge. I just wanted to put a scratch pattern on it. And here you have the exact same edge after stropping with Hapstone. As you can see, it is very clean. And yes, this one is washed, of course. And the burr is mostly removed. I will put them next to each other. So this is the exact same part of the edge. As you can see, I marked the blade so that I could position it exactly right under the microscope. So I did tear out some material, apparently. You can see the gap in the apex, and that's honestly a bit unexpected. So the picture looks much lighter, although it was taken under the same lighting. That's because the abrasive has made the surface more flat, so it reflects the light differently. So on the whole, we can see a cleaned up but not overwritten scratch pattern and a refined apex. Now the same knife and the same 1000 grit start, refined with DMT. So here again, the 1000 grit baseline edge with an even bigger burr. I measured it, and as you can see, it is 10 to 12 micron. Now that is a decent burr. Other than that, nice even scratch pattern. That's on a 1000 grit Sharple stone, by the way. So then I gave it 20 passes or so on the strop, and that resulted in this edge. As you can see, there is still a lot of burr hanging onto the apex. And not only that, also still a lot of compound on there. Now I did wash this, but that oil is just very sticky. Alright, I wanted this burr gone, so I did some more passes on the strop. And that resulted in this. So you can see it now has a very, very clean apex. I washed it thoroughly this time. So no burr left whatsoever. Let's compare the two compounds. Here you can clearly see that the DMT has overwritten quite a bit more of the 1000 grit scratch pattern than the Hapstone. So I have one other thing to show you. So I want to show the effect of the DMT 6 micron on basswood on this same edge. So here you see the 1000 grit baseline. It has a burr too. It's somewhat smaller at 5 micron. And here you can see the edge after stropping. It's not a perfect picture, but you can easily see that on a harder substrate, the same abrasive has a much, much more aggressive effect. The scratch pattern is overwritten almost entirely. Okay, so putting it all together, all 5 are real diamond compounds. None of them looked weak or empty. DMT and Wicked Edge looked the most loaded, though they also seem busier and more merged, partly down to how thickly they were piled and how they dispersed. Stroppy has the cleanest dispersion. The Hapstone overview looks well loaded too, and the Jende looks the lightest in the sample. But remember, it is the finest grade, it is polycrystalline, and it is not their strong version, so I would not call it the weakest. And which one has the most diamonds? Well, I generally do not know. I cannot tell you. What the microscope could show me was the difference between poly and single crystal. So both compounds sold as poly, the Hapstone and the Jende, break up light into busy multidirectional sparkles, and the single crystal ones stayed calm and clean. And then on the edge, so the mono DMT rewrote the sketch pattern with its own grooves, while the poly Hapstone left the existing pattern mostly intact. Is that truly indicative of poly versus mono? Well, it's hard to say. The difference in diamond load is probably a better predictor than the type of diamond. The leather strops were also not identical, and the basswood clearly shows that the substrate is very important. So harder and softer leather will probably also yield bigger differences than type of abrasive. Perhaps you can let me know your experiences in the comments. I'd like to know. And if you liked this content, please subscribe. I also have a few other interesting videos. There is one about comparing stropping on wood versus leather. That follows this one nicely. And the two other ones are about diamond stone. See you guys later.